Good morning, folks. This is Simon. We are joined this morning. We've got two kind of main sessions. We're going to start off this morning with Claire and Maya. And Maya is a celebrity manager and known in the industry as the PR to the stars. And she represents lots of household names for the world of business, TV, and showbiz. I won't steal her thunder and do any name drops, but I'm sure Claire will do that shortly. But she's got loads of experience in the PR world. And she's going to be talking to you about how you can do your own PR. So that's going to be really interesting stuff. That's going to be the first session, kind of chaired by Claire. And then I'll come back on, we'll have a little break, and then I'm going to be introducing Dr. Hemel Amrania, who's going to be talking to you about making money with affiliate marketing using a little Google loophole that he has discovered. So lots of great stuff. But I'm going to hand over to Claire. So Claire, over to you.
Over to me. Thank you, Simon. So yes, that is what we're doing this morning. Simon's going to go off into the background. You can't take it. We'll leave it a few minutes and then I'll tell you all the juicy stuff until when he's gone. So nice to see you. Let me know if you just jumped on and where you're from. And basically our session today, if you were on my last session, I said I was coming back on the 31st of July. And it's not the 31st, but I was asked to step in last minute. And so I decided, it's my birthday weekend, and my friend came to stay, and she is, like someone was saying, in the PR world. She works with celebrities, like, you know all the celebrities. So, and she's been doing it for how many years? 16 years, yes. So,
no, I don't look old enough, do I?
You do not look old enough, to be honest. So if you have questions about PR, we're going to start off. I'm going to ask you some questions about PR because you might not even know exactly what it is. But Maya is well versed in it. So she does the PR in the UK for Meghan Markle, who you may have heard of, or may not. So she's got the contacts, and I'm not going to drop the other ones, but you'll know all of them, all the people she works with. So it's a really good opportunity for you because she knows how to get people on all the top things this morning and all the newspapers. You know so much, to be honest. I'm not going to say and ruin it all because we're going to talk about it. So thank you for the birthday wishes. That's really kind. Thank you. So if you've got questions, do drop them in the chat about PR because this is a really good opportunity. So firstly, Maya, what is PR?
Okay, so this is one of the things, because in businesses we're told we need to do accounting, marketing or advertising, but PR, you think, oh, it's fab. Those of you old enough to know what absolutely fabulous is, or you think it's just for celebrities. And yes, celebrities need PR and publicists, but actually business owners need PR. And PR stands for public relations. Most people think it stands for press release. It doesn't. It's public relations. And essentially what it is, it's how you deal with your public. So each of you will have a different public. It could be colleagues, employees, shareholders, investors. You know, those are how you communicate with it. And PR is even writing a newsletter. But we're talking today about media relations and publicity. And so how you can get onto TV, onto Vogue, or Business Insider, or Forbes. Forbes is a popular one. And, you know, most of you might have had DMs saying that we can get you into Forbes if you pay. Now, that is not PR. PR is free. You just need to know how to do PR. So when you go onto This Morning or Good Morning America, you never pay to be on it. But by being on it, you're open to a whole wide world, really, and also a bigger audience. So it's about how to get seen by your ideal clients.
Right. So then there's going to be this kind of question, I think, between, you know, you work with celebrities, and obviously you can see why they need the PR and why they need management of PR, because they are probably getting themselves into situations that need to get them out of the situations, and also they're going to want to get, I guess they want it to raise their profile so they get more jobs.
Visibility as well, you know, with celebrities.
Okay, so in this context, we're talking about people who've got businesses. Now, how does it translate from, you know, that world of celebrity PR into what should we be doing in our businesses to, and, you know, how can we do it effectively?
Yeah, So, I started my career with my first client being James Caan. Those of you in the UK or out of the UK will know Dragon's Den. He was the star of the Dragon's Den, and he's a business personality. He's not a celebrity, yet he needed and still does need PR. And it's about getting your message across, because on social media it's so cluttered. You're relying on algorithms on Facebook, even if you're advertising, or even on Instagram. But by being on the media and then utilizing that via social media, gets you out to a larger audience. So first thing to think about is, I did PR, and I would say this, I know, as a publicity coach and a publicist, that everyone needs PR. If you're wanting to be visible, you absolutely need PR. And the first thing to do is think about who your audience are. So you're probably doing a lot of work with your ideal client. So you know who your ideal client is, what success looks like, what results they want. But actually, how do they consume information? Once you know that, you can be in the places that they are consuming the information. So it could be they regularly read Business Insider, they watch Sky News or BBC News. Once you know where they are, you can then get your message right and appear where they are. And by appearing on Good Morning Britain or the Times newspaper, it gives you credibility. And there's so much to cover, but just in brief, that by being on there, nobody knows when they see the end product. So when they see Kay Burley interview you on Sky News, nobody knows that you pitched to that, what it looks like from a consumer point of view, thinking, oh, Claire must be good because Sky News have rang her to be on the show. So it gives you credibility above your competitors.
Okay. So to put a bit of context, it'd be really interesting to know, because I think probably a lot of people here, aren't really making use of PR, and it's something, I've been doing. As you know, I was a solicitor and then I became an entrepreneur. And so I've been in this space for 8 years or 9 years. And the only time I think I've ever done anything PR related is when Simon said to me, Claire, can you write me a press release? I remember that. I'm like, how do you write press releases? And I can't remember what it was about. It was about 7 years ago. And I'm like, I've got no idea what a press release is. So that was like my only tap into it. So tell me how did you get into PR, and how did you tell me a bit of the backstory?
Yeah, so my route into PR is not the traditional one. I didn't go to university to do PR. I went to uni to do primary teaching and then realised it's not what I want to do. Although this weekend with your kids, it's coming and use primary teaching. And then I left and launched my own magazine. Now this sounds very simple. I'm cutting lots of things out, but this is going back about 16 years. I launched my own magazine. And then after launching my own magazine, I am a single person. I couldn't compete with the big publishing houses, but we got the right people on to promote the magazine, and it went around the world on fashion TV. It gave me some kudos. We had the X Factor lot, Danny Minogue's X Factor lot, come to the magazine launch party, and then they got covered on ITV on the Sunday show. And that really gave me, as the editor of the magazine, some kudos. And then after that, I got headhunted by a TV station to work behind the scenes. And it was that time that I was playing at PR and finding out what PR was and whether I wanted it. Because as a magazine editor, I was getting calls from PRs saying, would you like to cover this? Would you like me to talk about that? And that, as a editor of a magazine, really helped me fill in the pages of my magazine. So I was like, what is this cool thing called PR? I went to explore it whilst working on a TV station. And the TV station wanted me to work with contact James Caan from Dragon's Den. And I was like, well, his number's not going to be on Google. What do I do? Contacted Hamilton Bradshaw, his company, and got on with his PA. And that is a secret. If you haven't yet realised, PAs are the ones who hold the key to everything. If you can get on with the PAs, you'll be well in there. So
what a PA is for people who not.
Sorry, personal assistants or executive.
So they're like, so when you're trying to get contacts, that's who you want to be making relationships with, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And if you're nice to them, because not many people are nice to them, they see them as like, well, you're not important, but actually they are important to the person that you're trying to get to. So she's like, look, Mayor, this campaign really isn't working for us. We really don't want anything to do with it. But this PR thing, we're really interested. And social media was just then starting for businesses, really interested in that. Long story short, I went to see them and ended up doing social media for James Caan's team. He had a charity, he had Hamilton Bradshaw, his company, and then his personal social media. And timing, I believe in timing. I was at the right place at the right time when he had a PR crisis, and his PR was on maternity leave, and he had ITV News coming in and saying, Mayor, I need you with ITV News. And it just so happened that it was a great interview, and he said, look, I need you as my PR. And so once I had James Caan, I had a lot of the BBC apprentice candidates on board. And that's when I then made the shift into celebrity PR. And then with PR, we needed management. So there's a whole team of stuff. And then I just learned how to do management. And 15, 16 years, I'm still doing it.
Wow, well, it's very inspiring to hear all of that. And it's interesting how the pathway goes. Like you take one direction, it takes you in the other direction. So,
absolutely.
So while you've been telling us that, we've got some questions. Morning, everybody who's jumping on. We've got hi, Julian, and we've got some questions. So let's start with the first question. Someone's asking for a friend. You might know who's asked this question. How can you get a new singer-songwriter to #1?
Well, there's a lot of things, but
a lot of
things you need to do this anonymous person. But yes. One thing is, so when you see celebrities on TV, they're not there because it's fun to be on TV. They're promoting whatever they're doing, whether it's a book or a single or anything. There's got to be a story. So what you need to do is be seen by the media, because it's free. You know, if you're trying to advertise and get to in front of a certain audience, what you want, you're paying for that, you know, with Facebook and Instagram and social media, even with Google AdWords. With PR, you pick up the phone and you say, I've got this amazing, well, you don't, you get your publicist to do it.
Well, you get someone to do it for you. Ta-da!
And then you're seen everywhere. You're seen, you know, if there is a new show like Love Island, you get your song to the producers of Love Island, so it can be playing in the background, and then it becomes a track list to Love Island. You get on to telling the story, you know, so PR is about storytelling. It's not selling. It's not saying, this is me, this is how great I am, this is where you can buy my single from. You talk about it, and you talk about if there is a story behind it. And then once you're in one media, it then trickles on to it. So the Daily Mail, Freudian slip there, might then cover you, and then it gets on to other places. But basically, it's about the stories, and you want every single editor, producer to know about you.
Right.
And you get your publicist to do it.
Yeah. So I've got some contacts for that mystery question, if we want to tap into them for a small fee or a large one. Right, let's moving on. Thank you for that one. Let's see the next question. So we have a question here. What sort of products and services do you have that you would like some ideas on to use PR to get publicity? I think that's the question. That was yeah. What kinds of Also, I don't really understand that. What sort of products and services do you have that you'd like some ideas on? Oh, I see. That's the question. That's Simon asking questions. I can't quite get it. So, money and finance. Okay, that's it. So, how do we get publicity on money and finance products?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So what you want to be doing is talking about what's happening in your industry. Money and finance. Look, we've just been through a pandemic at the moment. So there is lots happening within money. So let me just rewind that a little bit first. So here in the UK, when you hear a TV presenter saying, here we've got the money saving expert, before they say the M in Martin Lewis, you know exactly who they're talking about. Because every time there is a money issue or a money topic, you've got Martin Lewis coming on to newspapers, TV shows, news programs talking about money. And if you are a credible person and you can answer questions and you know what you're talking about, then you talk about what's happening in your industry. So what are saving rates like? What's interest rates like? What's the best bank account to have? What's happening in money? Are people saving or are they spending? Do you predict a recession coming? So you really have to be an expert in your industry, but then be able to answer the viewers' questions or what the viewers want to know. So if you go on to BBC News as an expert, what the producer of BBC News is looking for is he or she is looking after their audience, so their viewers. What is important? Just sadly, the fact that you have a business isn't newsworthy. You need to make it appealing to the particular media you want to be on. So you may have a different story for Good Morning America than you will for the Telegraph or the even the Sun newspaper. They talk about money. You have to tailor it to their audience. And then once you get seen as an expert and people hear you, you'll find your phone ringing. But honestly, whatever industry you are, whether it's mortgage advisor, money, finance, by you being visible through the media, you will be known by your competitors because they'll be like thinking, okay, this is a great person, but more importantly, by your ideal clients. And when you're on the show, you talk in the language that your ideal clients understand.
So one says that he's in business process automation, cash flow and scaling businesses through incremental improvements. So if you're in that kind of sector, so the financial sector, where would you say the best place is to go? Where would you be targeting?
So I would say broadsheet newspapers.
Okay.
And what can you talk about? So if you even look at what you do, there are shows. The Money Show on Radio 4 is great. Dragon's Den, if you can be talking about actually what are the common mistakes people make when they go on to Dragon's Den regarding cash flow. For you, it will be simple cash flow questions that they don't anticipate, even though it's been running for years, Dragon's Den. And also, what is happening right now? So is it the rise of the entrepreneurship, during the pandemic? Are people working from home, realizing they want to work from home? So what do they need to think about when working from home? So how do they cash flow forecast? How do they scale their business? What improvements can they make? So Business Insider will be great. So any business magazines, financial sections of The Guardian, The Times newspaper, The Telegraph, broadsheets. But also you could go on to news stations. So you could do a survey seeing how many people who were in a corporate job have left during the pandemic their corporate job and started their own business. And when you do that survey, and if you haven't yet, please do look in the media. Media love surveys. The Daily Mail usually have, 4 out of 5 people who eat beef will get cancer or something ridiculous like that. But when you look at ITV News, they will say 90% of people have struggled with childcare or whatever it is. But that survey will get quoted by somebody.
So how do you get that? So you're saying that if you're trying to promote your business, you need to get a survey put out?
No, but that's just an idea for the business
okay.
process automation. So to be getting that out there, because if you're in that situation, whereas that's a story to tell, right?
Okay.
So in terms of you doing that survey, you then promote it to the news stations. What you're not saying is how good you are, how much you charge, what your website is. You're actually giving a story so that when you're interviewed, sorry, I can't see the person's name, but then, the anchor on
Juan, I think you pronounce it.
Ewan, yeah.
Juan. I think is it Spanish?
Perhaps. I'm not an expert in names. PR, I can help you with.
Yeah.
So what the news reporter will say to you is, Ewan, and I hope I said that correctly. So what is happening during the pandemic that is making people turn to entrepreneurship? And because you conducted this survey and you're an expert in that industry, you're then able to say how they're turning to entrepreneurship, and you're really telling a story around the survey you've done. And what will happen when you're on BBC News, it will have your name on it, and it will say your name and your business name. Immediately, if you can get that screenshot, or if you're on TV, that looks credible, because what people are going to do is start Googling you, pick up their phones and think, oh, this is a really great person. I want to follow this person, because maybe on Instagram and Facebook, they share some more tips. And I love what they've said about scaling up or how they help entrepreneurs. And you get, but also what you can do on your website, once you've been on BBC News, have as seen on BBC News.
And that's where it comes from.
And that gives you credibility instantly.
Yeah.
And then you use it on social media, and people who never watched that episode of BBC News will be like, oh, Ewan's great. He's just been on BBC News. And again, it gives you a whole new credibility to people.
And I guess if you have been featured, can you link to your article, I guess, through your website or not?
Yeah. Not unless you have an NLA license. So that's really for print media. So with print media, they have a body that looks after the copyrights of journalists.
Okay.
So if you've been in the Times newspaper, I mean, Times have got paywall, but if you've been in the Telegraph, you can't link it because there'll be people searching for that. But what you can absolutely do, say, the Telegraph has quoted me as saying, and then just take sections from that. But you can absolutely put it on your Twitter bio, on your Instagram bio as featured in the Telegraph, and then put the logo on your website.
Excellent. Well, hopefully that's given you loads and loads of help. We can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry, but I think it's Juan. I think it's Spanish. That's what I'm thinking. You said Yuan. It could be Yuan. We don't know. But we're not in the names thing. But anyway, hopefully that helped. I'm sorry, I hate it when I can't pronounce names. So let's see. If you've got questions, make sure you pop them in. We've got some more questions. We're going to go on to the next one in a minute. But before we go on there, I just want to, so we don't forget, tell me, what is a press release?
Okay.
Because this must be something you've always got to do.
No. So when Simon said to you, do a press release, when Simon says do a press release, that is the least effective way of getting press. Yeah. So people think press releases, oh, I need to write one. Right. I've got to get it out. So I've done a course. So I pivoted and I teach business owners how to do PR. When businesses come to me saying, I wrote this press release and I've distributed it to all the media, what you've done is spammed media. We all hate spam. So what I would do is not write a press release, but pitch via whatever the story you're telling is in terms of their email. So what I would do is press releases are only really good if you've got new news, like a book launch,
Okay.
or you've got, like I did, Social Media Kindness Day, which was in memory of Caroline Flack. Now, I didn't want to be the front facing of the media, but I got Meghan Markle supporting Social Media Kindness Day. That needed a press release because it would go to everywhere. It would be international media. I send it, there it is. I've got all the information. They don't really need it. I wouldn't struggle to get that in the media.
Okay.
And so I would recommend you pitch, and the pitch is only telling your news to the media.
So how do you do that though? Like...
And you do it via email.
Okay.
And keep it short, keep it simple.
So short, how short?
3 or 4 paragraphs.
3 or 4 paragraphs. Okay, so this next time someone asks me,
yeah,
I'll be like, no more. No,
it can just come to me and I'll
sort to you. Yeah,
cut the middle person out.
Cut the middle person out. So let's say we're going to do a pitch. How do we do it? Step by step.
Okay, step by step is, and you can do this straight away.
Okay.
Who are the people in your industry?
So find that out first.
That write about you. So the easiest way, when people say, "Oh, I want to be in Vogue,"
right?
Where in Vogue? Is it the feature section? And they're like, I don't know. The thing is, do your ideal clients consume a copy of Vogue? If they don't, that's not the right one for you. But once you find the right publication for you, where in Grazia magazine or Financial Times do you want to be in?
Okay, so find your publication. Right, that's step 1.
Yeah, and then once within the publication, see where you go in.
And then niche it into the publication.
Yeah, so it may be the feature section, or it may be the health section, wherever it may be.
Okay, so that's the first step. So write that down, everybody. That's the first step. Where do you want to feature?
And then who writes for you? So if you're, I know we've got a health question coming up, but if you are a health business, you do not want to be pitching it to the beauty editor unless it's got a beauty news to it. So you need to find the journalists that are writing about your industry. Okay. And you never pitch to the editor of the magazine or publication. The editor's job is to compile the publication. So you want to be pitching to the journalists. So what you do is go, if you want to be in a room full of journalists, go onto Twitter. Twitter is your best friend. You can put the Times newspaper into Twitter. And then if you go into accounts section, once you put the Times or the publication you want to do, and you can do it live, go onto Twitter. What it will bring up is everyone who has the Times newspaper in their bio. And you want to start following those people. And you want to engage in their contacts, in their content. So journalists love for their ego to be stroked. So if they've written an article yesterday about the health industry, comment on it. Comment on what you think to it, if you agree with it, or say, oh, if you don't agree, why don't you? And the more times you do it, you're building a relationship with that journalist. So that when it's time for you to pitch to that journalist and you're going into their inbox with a pitch, so you never pitch on social media. You want to go into their inbox. When you're in their inbox, just journalists, just like you and I, but look at 2 things in their inbox. They look at the person who sent them the email and they look at the subject line. Now, if they recognize the name, and subconsciously, if you've had your name rather than your company name on Twitter, you've engaged with them, they will subconsciously recognize your name. And what you want to then do is think of a catchy subject line. And the way to do it is think of what the headline in the newspaper will be about your story, because that will immediately get the attention of the journalist. So for example, I have a membership, and one of the people in my membership wrote, she's into spirituality and she's an intuition coach, and her headline was, "My intuition saved my dad's life." Now that is catchy.
And that was the email target. That was the email to the journalist.
Subject.
Yeah.
Now that journalist never knew my client's name, but the email title caught her attention. I'm like, oh, this is great. And within 2 hours of that email, my client got a call. because journalist inbox is so full. You're competing with so many other people. Now, if you've done it correct and you've not just copied and pasted the press release that doesn't work, that's sent to the wrong person, or even if it's to the right person, by writing a press release, the journalist is thinking, oh, that's gone to the Sun, that's gone to the Mirror, Financial Times. You've sent it to everyone. They want exclusive content. So by saying, hi, whoever, I have a story that will be interesting for your features section. It's about the rise of the entrepreneurship and why the pandemic has seen the most entrepreneurs than it has in this history, or whatever the title is. I think this is relevant for you because your viewers or your readers are looking to go into business or are looking for inspirational business stories. And then you don't end the email by, I hope to hear from you. Like, of course you hope to hear from them. You say, I am available for interviews, or I have case studies that may be of interest to you.
How about, I've heard about where you send something with it, like you send a pack maybe. Is this too much? Like,
yeah, I think that was old school.
Oh,
yeah,
old school?
You'd make cookies and...
No. You send it and then you send your little like picture and like maybe something else in like an email attachment.
No, because you don't want to block up their email. Like,
no attachments.
No
attachments.
Pictures. Like, no, not even low res. They've not asked for it. You don't want to block their email account. Okay. Only send images when they've asked for it. Okay. I promise you, by you sending that pitch, no journalist is going to feature you without speaking to you. What you're doing with that pitch is enticing them to feature you. So that, in your signature, you'll have a telephone number. They'll then ring you or email you back saying, this is really exciting. When can we speak about this? Right. And then that's when the interview happens. And then that's when you can say, oh, I've got loads of images. Mm-hmm. I can send it to you. But do not, unsolicited, send them images or things that you think are amazing, like an award win. I mean, yes, it's amazing for you, but from a news angle, the journalists.
So we've got this in a nutshell. We have find your publication or where you want to be. So someone's asked about being on the BBC. I assume this applies to everything. So you want to be on the BBC. Yeah. It could be a bit different. Might talk about that. But if we're talking about publications, find your publication, get the publication, decide which section you want to be featured in of that publication. Find your journalists. A great place to find that is in Twitter. Yeah. Like community building, build relationships before you need them. Yeah. So comment on their stuff, engage, share their content with your audience, all that kind of good stuff, because that's how you build relationships. So you're going to do that. You're going to build relationships before you need it. So if you're in the niche of, who isn't, someone saying about health and nutrition, vitamins and health supplements, find journalists in those niches and build relationships with them now. Doesn't mean don't ask for anything. Give, share their content, like their posts, engage with that mindset, not that you want to get anything out of it. That's the top thing. Then you need to think about two things. You need to get their email address. How do you get their email address?
So their email address is either on their Twitter bio. Another great tip is, and I'll give it you for free, is you can guess. And now, if you go on to BBC, for example, and you see someone else's email address is first name dot last name at bbc.co.uk, that's their format of their email addresses. Right. So if you know the name of the journalist, that's a great way. The great way to start with PR is do your local newspapers and PR. So if you go onto your local paper, if you found the journalist you're looking for, if you click on their name, it will bring a bio of who that journalist is, mainly for local one, and it'll have their email address, their Twitter, their Instagram handle, and then the latest articles they've written about. So you can do that. And if you guessed incorrectly and sent them an email, the worst that will happen is you'll get that back and you just get confirmation that's not the email.
So it's basically using a bit of, what's the word? I was going to say nonce, but that's not a word, is it?
Yeah, there is a website also called Hunter That's as in the Hunter boots.
Let me write it down.
Hunter.io. And I'll give this content for free.
She's getting this for free. This is normally only for her membership.
And so if you go onto that website and you type in the domain name, it tells you how the email is formatted. And you may have, I mean, if you have a free account, what that does is gives you a few lists of emails belonging to that account. It may not be the right person that you need to contact, but you know it may be Claire dot last name at bbc.co.uk or wherever, but it then gives you a good idea of how their email is formatted.
Okay, so that's good. So now we've got all the tips. This is brilliant. So we've got the email. The email we're going to write is going to have the amazing headline, like we talked about, which is always really essential. So spend more time on the headline, probably, because that's going to get you opened in the first place.
Yeah, and just look at the publication. You know, you have to consume the media you want to be in. Right. So you have to know, if it's the BBC, that they do half past the hour, like a fun feature, or they have a really good interview with XYZ, or they have BBC Click, which is a technology program, and you are suited for that. Really consume the information before you pitch to be in there. And once you do that, you know how their headlines are written. You know that it's attention grabbing and it gets you to read that article. So write it in that similar format.
So actually now I've seen in the comments, Rachel is a BBC journalist. You are here, Rachel.
Yeah. And that's the format, yeah.
Yeah, that's the format. First name dot last name at bbc.co.uk.
Yeah.
So there we go. So you're writing this email, and then it's short, 3 or 4 paragraphs. Don't send any pictures or anything like that. And there you are, good to go.
And always have your contact details at the end, you know, in your signature. And always be available after sending the email. You know, don't go on holiday and have your phone turned off.
No.
You know, journalists are up sometimes to a tight deadline, and what you need to be doing is being available for when they need you, the story to be written.
Excellent. So this has been, hopefully you're enjoying this and taking some good notes, and we've got some questions to get through because we've got 20 minutes left. So PR advice, we're going to do these quickly, quite a few questions.
Okay.
I mean, all of this is applicable to everything. All these questions are applicable in every case, aren't they? But we're going to just try and give a little bit extra for everyone who's asked a question. Any PR advice for vitamins and health supplements?
Yeah, I love this. So during the pandemic, we saw a white paper written on, and you'll know this, Emma, on vitamin D and its immunity with COVID and your chances of decreasing if you take vitamin D. Now, what is happening with vitamins? Are more people taking their vitamins because of COVID? Like, what is really going to be interesting to a journalist is what's happening right now in that industry. They don't want to cover about what's happened previously, pre-pandemic, or maybe what you predict will happen after COVID. And if you're saying how vitamins can help you, what you want to give is top tips on how you can improve your health or get more energy through vitamins without having prescription medication. So what you're doing then is giving that particular journalist or publication tips on how that person can improve their health without going to their doctors. And we all want that. And so it could be, actually, you need these. For most people, or if you're vegan and you don't get these supplements in your diet, this is what you need to do. Again, veganism is on the rise. People want to get the nutrition they can't from meat. So maybe that is an angle for a particular newspaper, say how you can still have a healthy diet by being a vegan or something interesting. So think about what people are coming to you with problems.
So hopefully that helped, Emma. Thank you for your question. And we're going to move on to Jane's question. She says she's a therapist specialising mainly in trauma. Any suggestions? The whole world is suffering from trauma right now.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to mention the words help for long COVID?
Yeah, we absolutely are. So it was a year ago, one of my clients got featured in the Telegraph very early on when the media were talking about long COVID before it was a thing. Now you're hearing the word long COVID in the media a lot. If you're an expert in trauma, the media need to hear about you. So what you can have, if you're a therapist, you could be in Psychologist magazine. So COVID isn't going anytime soon. It's not going away. So with Psychologist magazine, you could then pitch a story of how you've helped sufferers of long COVID or whatever trauma it is. And what you do in that case is have 3 of your clients that have suffered with trauma and make it different types of trauma. And they could say, oh, before I spoke to Jane, this is what I was suffering with. Now my life is amazing. I can go out with my kids. So 3 different case studies, very short. Now, we love reading about people's stories. So in psychology, if we read that is interesting because it's real life. It's someone that's helped. And then what you can pitch to the Psychologist magazine is say, if you're dealing with trauma, these are the steps you can take to get help. And that's coming from you, Jane, as the expert, because they'll say who you are and they'll say your title. And this is why you're credible to give that advice to their readers. And if that is applying to someone, so if Claire's reading that and thinking that is applicable to me, and be like, let's follow Jane, because that's a non-invasive way. If she's not ready for help, she will seek you out on social media and follow your content. And obviously your content is then enticing them into your one-to-ones or group coaching or whatever it may be. But it's a non-invasive way for people who aren't ready for it, but also people who are ready can go onto your website, book a session with you, and they know you're credible because Psychologist magazine has asked you to be featured in it. They don't know you've pitched. They don't know that you've said, please feature me because I'm an expert. They're thinking, oh, Jane is great because Susie Walker from Psychologist has clearly asked her to be on it.
Excellent. So I think loads of great advice there. So Jane, take some of that, run with it. That's the thing, when you go on these webinars, try and take some action. Otherwise, you're just wasting hours here with us or just hanging out with us. You can just hang out with us if you wish, but we want go-getters, don't we? In fact, that's the name of your group, PR Go-Getters.
It is my Facebook. It's a free group. I'm not telling you, it's not my membership, but
it's not
yeah.
our membership, PR Go-Getters. So that, I didn't do that on purpose. I was just saying go-getting. But anyway.
She's doing my PR.
I'm doing her PR. That's what I'm doing. Right, Andrew says he works with individuals, businesses and charities to start and build eBay businesses so they can turn unwanted items into much needed cash. So where do you think he could show
Oh my God, Andrew, this is what people are needing right now, right?
I'm looking to you. Everyone, oh my God, this is great.
No, but it is, right? Because people are needing this right now.
Yeah.
They're wanting more money and people don't know what they don't know. eBay is a fantastic way of turning your junk into someone else's treasure. So whether it's from unwanted clothes, during the weekend, I'm sure, Claire, if I wasn't around, you could go through your house and think what you don't want.
Spotless here.
Yeah. And what you could then do is say, what is the worth of an average person's junk that they can put onto eBay, that then they can treat themselves for a staycation in Devon. Like, I mean, I didn't eBay this, but
no, but she will be getting a hefty bill.
She's not charging me to stay.
I might be.
But that's the thing. You can then say, an average person can turn their junk into £100 on eBay.
Yeah, and a good title would be something like how eBay paid for my trip to
My staycation.
Yeah.
And we're all staycating, right? We're not going away
No.
because PCR tests are costing a fortune.
There we go.
So what you want to do is think about what your industry is doing, or what you can then say is, if you don't want it, you eBay it. Or how easy is it to eBay? Or just break it down for people, because sometimes that's what they need. Or if you've helped other individuals, talk about how much they made. You might have like real success story. Someone made £500 in a weekend from eBaying.
Right. Excellent.
And we'd love to read that. I mean, if people wouldn't take action, we're like, oh my God, could I do that?
What I would love is for you to come down here and sort all my stuff out. That's what I would love. You see, you've got a client.
And I'll do your PR.
And you'll do a PR. You could get the whole service in Devon. Just everything. Right. We're going to have to go through these because we're running out of time. Yeah. So what we want to do now? Let's have a look, because Serena has asked a question. She had a hand up ages ago, so I want to answer her question. Hi, I have a language school. Do you have an idea for me?
Yeah, okay. So what have we been doing during lockdown? We've been cleaning our houses, upskilling to learning a new language. Now, I wanted to learn Italian, because I wanted to go to Italy for a weekend and just speak Italian. So what you could... Don't laugh at me.
Sorry, are we going to Italy? Let's find a road trip.
Yeah. So, but then that's what are people doing? And you could then say that you've seen an increase in your language school with people who are wanting to upskill by learning a new language. So they probably never paid attention at school learning French or Spanish, but as adults or during the pandemic, they realize actually the world is a smaller place, or that we're Zooming people in so many different countries. Like my membership has people all over the world that I would never have met. And actually, might want to learn a new language and then speak to my membership in that, or do business in a new country by upskilling my skills and knowing that I need that. So I would just say, what is happening in your industry? Have you seen a rise in your language school that is due to COVID?
Excellent. So hopefully that helps. We've got some indications on how to pronounce Mr. Jeffrey's name, so I'm going to call him that, hoping you are Mr. Jeffrey and not Dr. Jeffrey, because I'm not very good at pronunciation. But the question is, how do I get on the BBC?
I've just told you that.
She just told you. Yeah. There you go. You know, we've been through the whole thing. I think basically the point is whatever news or whoever it is, it's a similar kind of thing, isn't it? So,
think of it as a news angle.
Yeah.
What is a hook? And there are quite a few things that are hooked, and we don't have enough time, but celebrity endorsements, or an event, or a survey, writing a book. They watch a BBC for like different days for a few hours, see what they talk about, and go onto the BBC's website, type in keywords from your industry. How do they cover that?
Right, excellent. So we're going back, we were talking about surveys earlier. Luther says, how do you get a meaningful size sample of people to participate in a survey?
Okay, so this word meaningful. If you've ever watched a L'Oreal advert where they say...
my hair.
Yeah.
I'm worth it.
Yeah. 5 out of 6 people, or whatever, or 9 out of 10 people would colour their own hair or buy this mascara or whatever. And you think, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Or 98% of people. And then you read the small print. 88 people sampled or surveyed. Now, they've still been able to turn it into a percentage. So what I would do is start with things like SurveyMonkey, and then spread it via social media, get it onto your website, get your friends and family to share it with their colleagues, and then see what you come back with. You do not need thousands and thousands of people. And it may just be relevant if you're in a niche and you have a small group that represents a larger proportion. But you don't need thousands, a couple of hundred.
Is there some kind of guidelines on that? Because I could say 100% of people who know me love me, and I could just ask my children, because I'm pretty sure.
But I know they've just said no. I've just taken your daughter to the beach.
She loves me. But you know what I mean though? It's like, it's so bad.
Yeah, but then what you do is when you send that survey or the highlights of that survey, you then need to give the results. How many people interviewed, and if it's more than people than your children, it's got to be some sort of credibility. What questions did you ask? So it's got to be like you've asked non-leading questions, and it's not enough time, I'm afraid. Simon can get me on again, but
Simon, we're going to bring you back. We've got all these ones. So
there's so many.
There are so many. As a lot of people in the entertainment industry have been affected, what are the current ways of rebuilding yourself and platforms?
Yeah, I know this too well, because the entertainment industry literally closed down during the pandemic, but it is opening up. And what I would say is you do not necessarily need a publicist, be your own publicist. And you can use, so once you're on and follow the steps I've just said to you, what you can then do is when people search your name, by being on the BBC, it gives SEO, search engine optimization. So when they search your name, there's a news section, all news stories come up because they're higher than your own social media platforms. So it gives you credibility, but literally reach out to producers on TV shows and say how it's affected you, how has it impacted you mentally. Mental health and entertainment is huge, especially for ITV and the Let's Get Talking campaign they're doing. And so, just contact producers. And if you're in the entertainment industry, producers are more sympathetic than they were probably pre-pandemic, because they know it's been difficult.
Okay, now we're doing the quick fire round. Okay, no, say sorry. It's all great. We've got some great comments in here. So, best route in one sentence to gaining consumer awareness for home improvements without traditional or web-based articles to gain what would once have been called advertorial space.
So what's the best way to get consumer awareness for home?
Without web-based articles.
But then you can get without traditional. You can then get onto BBC about gardening. But you don't want.
What about radio?
You can get onto radio. You can get onto podcasts. As well. Podcasts is huge. The stats. There's probably one on gardening. Get onto TV. Onto This Morning and say how you can do home improvements. You could say how you made that star with pieces of metal that you had lying around and you've improved.
I did make it.
I know you did. And that's why I'm saying that. But you can say we're all doing home improvements because we want our backgrounds to look great for Zoom calls. And little tips and tricks. You can do it in like interior magazines. You don't pay for them. So you said advertorial spaces. Articles work great. They give you great kudos and credibility. Because when you say I've been in home interiors or whatever magazine, that's kudos and you don't pay for it.
Very good.
And you follow the steps I said earlier.
Follow the steps. But the other thing is you're like, just get on This Morning, like it's easy. And this is the interesting thing about mentorship on every level. Like wherever you are, get involved with people, whatever you want to do. If you want to do affiliate marketing, work with someone who's an affiliate marketer who's done it before you, because it's the quickest way. If you need to get onto This Morning, work with someone in PR, because that's how you do it. If you want to learn about community building, work with me. If you want to learn about building a website, work with Simon. It's just like, that's the quickest way to any of the answers in this. Like sometimes you can figure it out, other times you really need to lean in and invest.
And you don't know what you don't know. This is why so many people think, oh, PR is for celebrities. And it isn't. It's free once you know the know-how, right? It's absolutely free. And what allows you to do is get onto all these channels by following the same format and just some practice.
Yeah, so remember that. This is absolute gold. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. You're getting some great comments, which it is gold, of course, because this is how I roll. This is who people I hang out with, obviously, gold people. So how to promote affiliate product is what we're coming on to next, Felix. So stick around because we have experts in the house. Hemel's coming on in a moment. So That's coming up in a second. Let's see what else we've got. What about Clubhouse? Clubhouse Queen. I introduced Maya to Clubhouse. In fact, I was like, do you want to join Clubhouse? She was like, what's Clubhouse? And now, 23,000 followers in, she has been the queen of Club. So, yeah, that's the place to get
Do you know
PR.
what? Clubhouse is amazing. Thank you, Claire. I did not think I needed another social media app. I would be on it in rooms that are relevant to you. And once you've I've contributed to a book with all these tips. So very quickly, what I would say is fill out your bio and have keywords, because on Clubhouse you can then search, and the search function is amazing, so that people can search within your industry. You know, I mean this in the nicest possible way. Sitting in the audience doesn't do anything on Clubhouse. You know, you want to raise your hand, get involved in the conversation, and then once you build a following, start your own rooms. You do not need hundreds of people in rooms. Start your own rooms. Other people would then recommend you, because you'll have these rooms so regularly. So when they're thinking of PRs or publicists, they, you know, I get so many recommendations. I had to have a VA, a virtual assistant, going through my DMs on Instagram when I first went on to Clubhouse, because they went crazy. Once you give value, and remember, that's that V word on Clubhouse, you're giving value, just as I have been on here. You want to do the same, because there's only a small percentage of people that will actually take action for free.
Yeah.
You know, people, when they pay attention.
Right.
So you can then be an industry expert on Clubhouse for what you do. So
we are wrapping up. That was excellent. We just wanted to quickly tell Tony, he's bricklaying. How would PR work for him? He's a bricklayer.
Yeah, but then there's
local. I would say local, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
local?
Absolutely. Start with local radio. How has it impacted you? Now, how has COVID impacted you? Or has it been great because everyone's building a shed or office in their garden, or they're doing home improvements? So I would just say that. Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah, it's okay. We're wrapping up now. Let's just say, what's the link? Do you have a newsletter? Where's the best way to find you?
Do you know what? I don't do my own PR, and this is without sounding big-headed. If you can't find me on Google, your internet's broken. Yeah. I have one of those names that you're not going to get another Maya Riaz.
Yeah.
Instagram, Clubhouse.
You can find her. So find her. PR Go Getters as a group. Thank you for asking, Shahid. Thank you, Hazel. So it was a great presentation. Jerry says something different.
Oh, how's my name spelled? Yeah. Do you want to write it in?
Yes, I do. I feel like under pressure now. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. It was a late session for me, and because I wasn't supposed to be here, but I'm back on in a few weeks if you want to come again and see me. I won't have a special guest. Well, I might do.
You might do. I might just stay.
She might just stay. She might just stay. So yeah, a birthday special for us. So hopefully you found that really helpful. Thank you, Louise and Andrew. Thank you, Maya, for coming along and sharing all your expertise. And we can bring her back in the future. So put something in place. That's the.
Shall I go and look after your children now?
Yeah, get on with that. You see, we've got things to do. You don't have to go off. It's not really professional. I don't know where Simon is. Simon's going to come back in a minute. We're starting back at 11.
I'm here. I'm here.
You're here.
I'm here. I'm all ready.
Did you love it?
It was amazing.
Amazing.
That's not a leading question, is it, Simon?
It's not leading. There we go. You couldn't. It was. That's how you spell it. Can you? Oh, hold on. This is the thing. I cannot.
Oh, you've just said that to all panelists. You need to send it to attendees too.
Yeah. Sorry. This is Maya's name. There you go. And she likes it pronounced May. Not anything else, just saying. Anyway, it wasn't a leading question. We're the only ones on the screen because we only want a video one. But that's it.
You're the more attractive ones. Nobody wants to see me.
No, we are that side. We are, yeah. Anyway, thanks everyone for your comments. Thank you, Simon, for having us. Thank you, Maya. And
thank you, Maya. Thank you, Claire. Fantastic. Thank you.
Everyone.
Enjoy your birthday weekend.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Fantastic. Cheers. Okay, folks, we are going to take a 10-minute break now. So we're going to be back at 11:10. So we're going to, a guest speaker, Hemel, is going to come on in a second. So Hemel, if you're here, if you want to share your screen and put your slide up with 11:10 on it, that would be great. Here we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That's all kind of up on screen. So go and grab yourselves a cup of tea, folks, or a cup of coffee, or a can of Red Bull if you're me, or a green smoothie if you're healthy like Claire. And we are going to be talking with Dr. Hemmel in just a few minutes' time about how to make money with a little Google loophole and affiliate marketing. So catch you at 10 past.